Ryan Coogler. Totally badass Tara, Rutina Wesley. And the now very powerful Bill Compton, Stephen Boyer. Suke and the genius band that helped bring this whole world to TV, executive producer Alan Ball. So Alan, I want to start with you. You know, we've seen serial killers like Maynard's, a crazy sheriff, now there's witches. Does Bontemps have some like amazing tax credits? Like, why are people living here? There's not even like a really good restaurant. There's like a oh, Sam, oh, please.
Merlot's is fine cuisine.
All right.
Come on, if you could live in Bontemps, wouldn't you?
Actually, I totally would. I have a crush on the bartender. And I want to ask you, in the premiere, Eric said he thought there were two Sookie Stackhouses, two sides, basically. Do you feel that way? Do you think she's sort of split into two different personalities?
Yeah, I do. I think there's part of her that's still this very sweet, very innocent little girl, and then there's the part of her that has really dirty vampire sex on a regular basis.
With a regular girl.
With possibly multiple vampires.
And maybe one werewolf.
Maybe.
Speaking of vampire sex, Alexander, obviously Eric has had his memory erased, and you've been so funny for these last couple episodes. Have you enjoyed sort of playing the lighter Eric Northman?
Yes.
It also appears that Eric has not only erased his memory, but he has forgotten to put on shirts often. Is that an acting choice, or is that a witch, part of the witch curse?
Well, it was a bit of a problem because Sookie finds me out in the woods on the, and I don't really have any clothes there. And then when she brings me home, we had to figure out this outfit, where does it come from? Like, it's probably not Jason's, because, right? Well, I'm just thinking like with this, it might be Hoyt's, that's kind of what we figured, that it's something that Aunt Sookie found in her house, something that Hoyt might have forgotten there. The sweatshirt and the sweatpants and all that.
Alan, do you know whose outfit this is?
Whose outfit is it?
I believe that if you were to take the Latin of the spell that was cast on Eric, and you were to translate it, there is a part that says, and by the way, you will lose your shirt. And then you will find a really dorky outfit that you will wear for several episodes in a row and still be insanely hot. Yeah.
Well, that's kind of the mystery of the season. Where does this outfit come from?
Steven, the twisted hand sex scene with Lorraine, it was kind of like probably the most sort of disturbing thing I feel like Bill's done so far. But then he screwed his great-granddaughter. That's a little weird. Are we going to see more fallout from this? Like, are we going to still deal with this more and more?
I'm glad that I didn't sort of go into some kind of crazy, filthy, dirty, neck-breaking sex with her and then find out
that it was my.
I think if Bill had done a bit of genealogy and worked out and gone to the local library, he might have been able to work out who she was. But he obviously didn't have time. Maybe it wasn't open at night. We'll you know, they do see each other again. We'll see them see each other again. But Bill has kind of got bigger fish to fry.
Keep it buckled. Let's see. Nelson, I feel like Lafayette, does he want to explore these supernatural elements, or like with the wicked, with the witches, or do you think he's just going along with Jesus because he loves the man?
Jesus because he loves the dude. But I don't think you want to step out into the supernatural.
Yeah.
At least not with the witches.
Yeah. Kevin, kind of the same question. I feel like Jesus there's some darkness there. Like, I feel like he's a little too into Marnie and the hand-holding and, like, evoking the spirits. I mean, can you tease anything? Is Jesus maybe secretly a big old bad guy?
I don't know. I think there's a little darkness in everybody, you know? Just have to watch and find out, bro. There's some good shit going on, though.
Speaking of good SHIT, because there might be young people here. Rutina, I love Tara's transformation. Like, you know, last season she was kind of a victim. This season she's just kicking ass and taking no prisoners. When you found out that this kind of evolution, what did you think? I mean, not only was Tara a lesbian, she was a lesbian cage fighter. It's quite a twist. What did you think about that?
Yeah, well, I secretly love the UFC, so I was sort of like awesome when I got the script. And I personally don't like labels, so I sort of think Tara kind of was sideswiped and kind of fell in love and didn't kind of know what happened.
Okay.
And I think it's just kind of awesome that she's happy and that she's smiling for a change.
Ryan, Jason isn't so much smiling lately. I mean, how long were you strapped to that bed naked, being like ritualistically raped by the hotshot woman? How long did that take, like that entire process?
I mean, I read the first episode and I thought, well, this will probably keep up for maybe another half episode, and it sort of continued for about 4, and it's really interesting for an actor. I know Anna had it sort of at the end of, well, midway through the 2nd and 3rd season, where she was sort of strapped, well not strapped, but she was on a hospital bed for some time. And it's interesting as an actor when all you have to use is your face, and sort of particularly for Jason, who's known as being a very physical type of guy. So for me to really sort of draw that back and I don't know, I think it was a nice challenge, but he was enjoying the fact that he's now being called Ghost Daddy. I think he actually knows that. Who's your Ghost Daddy?
Deborah, you know, obviously you gave Jason some of your blood last week, or Jessica did. So what's going to be happening? I feel like it looked like from the teaser that you guys have some action.
Yeah, I think. Thank you. Oh, you're too young to watch our show. For the younger audiences, I think we all know what happens when someone drinks a vampire's blood. But I'm actually more interested in what happens once the effects of that V wears off. You know, how do the feelings transform or continue from then on?
And Kristen, I want to talk about your awesome face-off with Marnie last week. When she basically like dissolved your face. Was that how gross? I mean, were you squeamish over that? Because I got squeamish. Like it was pretty nasty.
We worked really hard to make you squeamish and everybody else, but really doing it is a whole technical, many-hour experience. You know, it starts with being encased in plaster from here up, and they make a cast of my head, and then 9-hour day where we did a makeup test, and then 9 hours shooting it. And in my mind, the direction I had, Kristen, was find the hole and push up. And I thought, only on True Blood is that going to be the only direction I get in the scene. So there was like a little hole with tapioca pudding and coffee grounds mixed together that I had to find. You see, that's what we wanted to create. So for me, it's a really technical thing. It's not gross, but I'm very happy to hear if it was.
I mean, this is, I guess, kind of for Alan and Anna and Alex. Will Eric remember his time with Sookie now? Like, once his memory is restored, will he remember this?
I feel like that's too much to give away. I think that's that moment, if it comes, if you know it's coming, it won't be as good.
Okay.
So no, yes, maybe.
Kind of going along with the love triangle, I mean, you know, Stephen and Anna, do you guys think there's hope for Bill and Sookie? Like, will they be together again?
I mean, I think it's going to be a pretty complicated road. There's been a lot has happened, so. But obviously, it's impolitic for me and Sookie to call that one, so.
There's obviously so many telepathic waitresses down south. I mean, just move on to the next one.
Alan, what in the hell is going on with Arlene's baby and that dog? Is it like Chucky? Is it going to come alive? Is it like what's going to tease anything? Will we find out?
We will find out what it is about that doll that makes it creepy, and it's something really creepy when we find out what it is. Is the baby evil? I don't know. Do you guys think the baby is evil? That cute little baby, you think he's evil? Oh my God. I knew that fans of this show were sick, but I had no idea you guys were this sick.
Can I just say something? I was episode 12 last year. I was with Alan when he was looking at the set for Jessica and Hoyt's house, and we were walking around, and he looked at the thing and he went, "This would be a really good place for that baby to be born. There's something not right about that baby."
The question that everyone keeps asking, I feel like, and people, especially on our website, people just keep asking this, will we see the famous shower scene between Sookie
There will be a moment in the show where Sookie and Eric are together in a shower. It may not exactly be what happens in the books. It may be weirder and dirtier. Maybe.
This is a question that I got over Twitter. For all of you guys, what's been your favorite part of this season so far? Has there been like one moment in the first, 4 episodes that you like really, really loved?
Well, I personally enjoyed the ritualistic gang rape with Jason Statham. By the inbred hotshot Were Panther women.
There's actually a bizarre sense of enjoyment in that for me too. It's nice to get that human contact every now and then, and it's a bizarre sense of therapy for me, so I'll take it.
Did we ask any favorite moments?
Cage fighting.
What'd you say?
I like that too. Cage fighting.
Oh, totally.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I really enjoyed the swimming in the sun. We don't get to go to the sun very often. That was very nice.
the lake scene, you know,
Sausage party?
yeah, the sausage party, as you put it. Can you just like take us through that's like what that was like when you're like standing next to Alcide and to Eric and they're just both naked and you have to like give lines? I know your husband's right next to you, but could you just indulge in my question?
I just want you to remember for one thing
Give me
that I'm 5'4" and 3/4, and Joe Manganiello is like a full foot taller than me. So let's just say proportion-wise, when I turn around and look at him. From a professional standpoint, that's vaguely awkward.
Yeah.
If you're trying to, you know.
Yes, it's hard to concentrate.
Well, no, I'm just saying if you're trying to keep your eyes on the appropriate place, that's a little weird because that involves a lot of neck craning.
Yes.
Also, the fun thing about that scene was I had a page and a half walk and talk with a wolf, of which I'm really, really scared of.
Yes, yes.
I'm actually kind of scared of large dogs. So by the time we got to the boys frolicking naked, I was just so, I'm sorry, effing relieved to be done with the wolf. Who, by the way, was more interested in rubbing himself in cat pee on the trees around us and wanted to be anywhere but on his mark. But not to make it sound unromantic. It was Valentine's Day, though.
So silver lining.
So that was cute.
Yeah. There's an upshot, I guess. I should have said this in the beginning that Joe is actually, Alcide is filming a movie in Atlanta and Sam Trammell's wife is about to have twins, so that's why they're not here. So sorry, that's too much. Alan, I want to ask you, before we start opening up the questions to the audience, so if you all want to ask questions to the True Blood people, start getting in line. The True Blood comics debuted last year at Comic-Con and have been really successful. What do you think they bring to the brand, and why do they resonate so well with fans of these books and this show?
I think it's, I'm just starting to understand. I've never done a genre show before, so I'm starting to understand all the different parts of the canon. I hope I'm using the terminology correctly. What I love about the comic books is they tell a completely different story than you see on the show, and yet it's the same characters with the same attributes, and so it's just like more story in a different format. I think that's it. Yeah.
Before we turn it over to the audience, I'm going to ask, my dream kind of storyline, which I think it seems like might be happening, is a Pam-Tara romance. What are the odds, what are the chances or odds that will happen?
Can't wait to hear this.
I'm going to write that down and send myself an email.
Good. Can you please credit me? Thank you. Well, I want you all to have time to ask these amazing people questions, so I think we should start opening it up to the audience. So yes, lady in the green.
Hi, this question is actually for Ryan. Ryan, from the very beginning, your character was kind of like the playboy, and he kind of grew up overnight in the season. How do you feel about the character growing up and the responsibility of what he's going to be going through?
Yeah, but I've always said that he started so low on the evolutionary totem pole, and he can only go up. So yeah, I feel like this season, in terms of all the others, is definitely, as you said, his chance for the young boy to become a man. And he loses some of that sort of, I guess, the boyish charm, but he makes up for it with this new sense of responsibility. And I personally like it. I think it's a really good sort of change up for me as an actor, and I think it's good for Jason too. Thank you.
I need Alex on video because my question is for him. First of all, fun about Snake Duet, and second of all, I wanted to know, Eric's voice is a lot deeper in the first season, and it grew higher a little bit as the seasons progressed. So I wanted to know if that was reflecting him being humanized more. Oh, and by the way, I loved you in Hundriket and Vingar av Glas.
Are you filming me now? What was the first part of the question?
Your voice, it's getting
Yeah.
higher.
next season, it'll be like this. Thank you.
Thank you all for making our Sundays enjoyable again. We've seen how Eric and Bill were made. Are we going to see this season how Eric made Pam?
Unfortunately, you will not see it this season, but you will definitely see it in season 5.
We're all really excited about that. Oh, my baby. Who's my baby? Yes, you are.
Nelson, I'd like to thank you for playing one of the most powerful gay characters on television. My question is, if Lafayette had a choice to date someone, would it be Eric, Jason, or Bill?
I must say I'm happy with the squeeze I got. I'm happy with Jesus. But I did all 4 of them.
That's season 6.
Hi, I'm Janine. And I just want to ask a question for all of you guys. What is wrong with you people? You know you're all going to hell.
I think we'll have plenty of company there because I think everybody in this room will follow us right there.
That's Janina Gavankar, who plays Luna, in case anyone Ladies, ready for war. What's going on there?
Hi, I'm Angel. My question is for Alex and for Kristen. I'm wondering, now that we're seeing this softer side of Eric, what in his history would have made him create such a straight-up badass?
First of all, is that Battlestar Galactica?
It
Your
is.
outfit is fabulous. And Dr. Skarsgård.
Well, I think there's some softness and some vulnerability in Pam.
Yeah.
But I think both of us, or both of our characters, are kind of uncomfortable showing that vulnerability. And so kind of keep that. It's not till now, you know, at least when Eric gets amnesia that you see that vulnerability when it comes out. And it might need, it might take something like that for Pam to overcome as well.
She's really has only been vulnerable about her maker, Eric, and now losing her face.
But I think I like that. And you saw a bit of that in season 3, like some tender moments.
Mm-hmm.
They're brief, but they're there. You know?
Hi, my question is for Alex, and I'd like to know if you will be in Zoolander 2 as the ghost of Lucas.
I think that's a question for Ben Stiller, but I like the idea.
My friend couldn't get in, but my question's for Ryan. I just want to know how you find being on
on American television shows different to being on Home and Away?
Home and Away was pretty much my first sort of acting job. It was my acting training, if you want to call it that. I mean, in terms of, I guess, just the amount of people that will actually see an American show, that's sort of, I guess, the main difference. Really, it's just acting. Acting is acting. You get into the character, you say the lines, and you clock in, you clock out. But I think this show in and of itself is a whole different beast. Though I know I speak for everyone when I say we all feel we know how lucky we are to be in this kind of a situation, to know that we have this many people that want to sort of cram themselves into a room like this and sort of listen to us sort of talk away. We're very lucky.
Hi, my question is for Alex, Anna, and Alan. This season we've seen a really kind of organic Eric who's been really vulnerable and real childlike. So presumably if and when he gets his memory back, how is that going to change the dynamics between him and Sookie, as well as with vampire politics and his standing in vampire politics?
You know, that's a big question, and I would be giving away too much if I told how his memory return to him would affect him if his memory does indeed return to him. As far as his standing in the vampire community, the entire vampire community is pretty much under siege during this season, so I think the vampires are all going to stick together because they're fighting a common enemy. And that enemy is Michelle Bachmann.
Hi, my question is for Alexander. I'm from Sweden, and I was wondering what's the difference between the Swedish film industry and the American?
Oh wow. It's quite different. It's very, very small in Sweden. We don't have the kind of budgets that they have in Hollywood. And it's all basically independent filmmaking. But when it comes down to it, being in front of the camera, it doesn't really, there's no difference. It's about the people you work with, the director, the other actors, the writers. And so it could be a $200 million Hollywood movie or a small Swedish indie, and you can, the experience on set can be very, very similar. The experiences can be very similar.
Go ahead, next question.
Oh, hi. My question is, well, Claudia, it was revealed that she helps bring out Sookie's power. And now that she was killed, is that going to give Sookie full control over power, or is it going to lessen her power?
I don't know what I'm allowed to say.
I will say this. Those of you who know the books know that fairies are born in litters and they're identical. That really didn't answer anything, but I was just trying to be mysterious.
Hi, my question's for Alan, and I was wondering if the storyline between Sam and Tara is done.
Nothing's ever done on this show.
Hi, my question is for Anna's character. It seems as though she's not reading lines as much as she used to, and I was wondering if there's a part of the storyline that involves that.
I think that as Sookie gets more sort of in charge of her own life, she's also seems to be more in control of her powers in general. She can still read minds, we just don't always hear about it. I hope that answers your question.
are you surprised at this fact and Mediterranean, Middle Eastern country is actually really interested in this show? And what would you like to say to your Turkish fans?
Thank you.
I'm personally not surprised because I feel like the show is really universal. I feel like people all over the world like crazy, messed up weirdness, and I would say to them, thank you.
All right, go ahead. Next question.
Hi, you seem to be working at least like somewhat at a book a pace, and I'm wondering how long you expect to be able to maintain this kind of timeline and keep the show on the air.
You know, it's a very organic process the way we break the stories, and we have borrowed things from books later in the series and put them in. And I think as we get further down the road, it will probably become less and less. This season is based on this book. This season is based on this book. But as far as I think this show has a tremendous amount of life, and I hope to get to the point where it becomes a problem for us in the writers' room to explain why the vampires seem to be aging.
Number 55.
I was here in the first panel that you had here, Mr. Ellis. I noticed that you were very reserved and you had your hat down and you were sitting way back. And as a member of the gay community, I can only assume what kind of reaction it was you were expecting from the audiences, especially being such a resoundingly gay character in the Deep South. What in your experience between that first panel in this room and now has changed, because you're sitting up and you look very much more animated? So what has changed in your perception of your character's reception?
Well, I was scared. I was scared. I didn't know how the public would receive a character that was so outlandish and bold and who he was. I didn't know if he was going to be offensive or if I got it right. So I was nervous to hear what people was going to say to me when I came out. Plus, it was my first Comic-Con, and it was overwhelming. I was like, well, damn, it's a lot of people. But I'm a lot more comfortable now, because it seems like y'all like Lala, so I'm all good.
First off, I would like to say this to Anna. Sucky. My question is, all of you guys, your characters have superpowers, but where do you draw the energy to act for their normal lives? Where do you get the inspiration to put, all this energy into Suki, Eric, Bill, etc.?
I think for me, all these characters, even though they do have these supernatural aspects, they are grounded so incredibly firmly in a very human reality. And the things they go through emotionally all resonate really strongly. And I think that's why, I hope that's why people react to our show as they do. And for me personally, as an actress, that's where I tap into who Suki really is. It's not her supernatural abilities, that's kind of the fun, bells and whistles. It's the fact that the things she's going through are incredibly real and really intense a lot of the time. I mean, I think that's probably true for a lot of the characters.
I think that Ryan and I were talking about this before we came on, and it's as you spend longer and longer in the business, you realize that so much, it doesn't matter about the producer, the director, or the amount of money that's being thrown into it, or anything like that. It comes down to the writing. And ultimately, unless the writing is good, you can't do it. And we've got this unbelievable group that surround Alan, and with Alan as the kind of crazy puppeteer at the top of the ladder. But, you know, you know, it's just an unbelievable room and an unbelievable job to be part of, to be able to make this stuff come to life.
Hi, first thing first, my name is Brittany, but Nelson, can you call me Hooker really quick?
Hi, my name is Rachel. This question is for Alan. So, all of my friends, once we saw Claude on screen, we applauded, we were so thrilled, which of course brings the next logical question. When are we going to see Hooligans? I mean, for HBO especially, what a wonderful opportunity.
Hooligans is the strip club. It may not have the same name, but there will be a business venture that involves people of both sexes taking their clothes off for paying audiences, and it will have a completely other twisted supernatural purpose in season 5.
My name is Erica, and first I want to thank you for having the sexiest show on Sunday nights. And I don't know how the women hold it together with all of these sexy guys for the show. I'd like to ask, what kind of soups are we likely to see that we haven't seen yet?
I know, I'm thinking. Soups, cream of mushroom. Well, I do believe that this year we are going to see, that we haven't seen yet, we will see spirits without bodies, whether you want to call them ghosts or not. That's one. We have seen glimpses of a particular kind of brujo-based freakish creature / demon / something that we will see a lot more of this year. And we're currently working on starting storylines for season 5, and we're doing a lot of research on different kinds of supernatural creatures that we may not have seen before.
Hi, my name's Elijah. I just want to let you guys know we really appreciate everything that you guys do. It's a really great show, and it means a lot to all of us. I have a very quick 2-part question for Alex. One, my wife would like to know if she should anticipate a large amount of shirt message from your next episodes. She would really like that. And what your most memorable experience has been in the show. I'd really like to hear about it.
Yes, and I had it's childish, but it was fun flying. I like that. I want to do more of that. And the flashbacks have been fun. I mean, there are so many amazing moments on the show, but it's, I love shooting the stuff in Swedish, the flashbacks, and the Viking stuff was great. it's just like I always think those are great moments, and you get to learn more about Eric and Bill as well, obviously, in all these flashbacks and where they come from, why they are who they are today. So those would be great.
Hi, my name is Kendra, and my question is for Mr. Ball. I fell in love with you during 6 Feet Under. So, my question is how is it different working on a show that you developed creatively versus a show like True Blood that you have to collaborate with an author?
Well, I can only talk about 6 Feet Under and True Blood, just those two examples for myself. 6 Feet Under was a fantastic experience, and I wouldn't trade it for the world. It was a little depressing. True Blood is never depressing. True Blood is always fun. I get to work with this amazing cast of characters, these amazing actors, all of whom are really incredibly talented, incredibly professional, incredibly good people, and that's so rare. I work with great producers and writers and designers and directors and editors, and everybody on the show is so great. And I think a lot of it has to do with the nature of the show being supernatural and so much outlandish, crazy stuff happening. I think we just really like to come to work because we have fun. And sometimes I can't believe I'm getting to make my living this way because I would do it anyway, because it's really fun. I'm not saying 6 Feet Under was not fun, but it was not fun in the same kind of way. There were days where I drove into my parking lot on 6 Feet Under and I was like, oh my God, we have to deal with Brenda being a sex addict, or this person who committed suicide. And of course, we have all that stuff on this show, but for some reason, it's just more fun.
I think Pam is very much True Blood's head bitch in charge. And I see that she's kind of being that way and trying to take care of Eric in his time of need. And I'm kind of wondering, how would Eric react if their situation were reversed and Pam were, the one who lost her memory, and how would Pam be without her memory?
Right, that's a good question. I mean, we saw a little bit last year, he went to some lengths to make sure that I was no longer being tortured by the Magister, right? I don't know, I mean, I like to think he would, do everything to save Pam. Is that just funny?
No, of course. Like Kristen said, you see that last season, Eric is willing to die. He's willing to meet the true death for his progeny. He doesn't care a lot about many people or vampires, but Pam is it's a very special relationship. She means a lot to him.
And who would Pam be without her memory? Right? Would she be like a horrible dresser?
Your biggest fear. Fashion.
She what? Yeah, she'd be some homemaker. Love children. Horrible. Let's hope we never see that.
It's scary. Pam playing with kids.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Tanya, and I love all you guys. I love Alex, by the way, personally.
I like you a lot. I'm not ready to say.
That's okay.
I love you is a little strong. I want to baby steps.
I can live with that.
But there is potential.
But actually, my question is more directed at Alan. I was just wondering how and why you and your team choose to diverge from Charlaine Harris's original novels. In season 1, you actually followed the novel pretty closely, but I was wondering how over time you progressively choose to sort of stay with it, but then develop your own storylines.
I think the guiding principle in that regard is the books are all narrated by Sookie. So the books are Sookie's story, and all the other characters appear as they appear in Sookie's story. When they're not involved in Sookie's story, they don't exist. If we were to do that, I think there would be two big drawbacks. One, Anna would work 12 hours a day, 5 days a week, and she would be exhausted. And the other one is there would be no surprises, because everybody can go out and buy the books and read the books, and you know exactly what's going to happen. But it's generally, because our show is much more of an ensemble show, it's generally trying to figure out what the stories are for the other characters who are not Sookie. Even though we do diverge from the books at times, I do believe that the main guiding principle for us is, even if we do things differently from the books, we always try to remain very true to the spirit and the world of the books.
Hello, my name is Michael Scott, and I'm here because I love the show. And I'm here to ask a question for a soldier of mine who's deploying to Afghanistan. And she would want to know, what advice would your characters give to come home safe? Her name is Sergeant Lisa Bloss.
Sergeant Lisa, what's her last name?
Sergeant Lisa Bloss. She's in the Air Force, so if you could just say, come home safe.
Sergeant Lisa
August
Bloss,
1st.
please come home safe. Keep your eyes peeled for vampires and
lots of vampires in Afghanistan.
And come home safe. Yes.
Thank you very much. Have a great day.
We have time for 2 more questions.
Hi. My name is Steve-O, and first off, I would like to thank all of you for making my marriage relations a whole lot better. My question is actually for Alan. We have seen a lot of very super hot, attractive females working at Merlotte's, but they don't happen to like pick up a paycheck because they always end up dying or going somewhere, or they never come back to work. Are we ever going to get an actress or a couple of actresses for us male fans that have some staying power at Merlotte's that we can look at?
Yeah, she takes her clothes off all the time. I just wait for this season. My God. I do think working in Merlotte's as a waitress is probably the most dangerous job. Yeah, well, there's a high turnover, so you're definitely going to see some more new waitresses. Whether or not they survive or get naked, we'll see.
My name is Jessica, and I'm sorry, I'm getting nervous. Butterflies in my stomach just seeing you guys.
Butterflies too.
First of all, I just wanted to thank all the women up there for being such a strong role model for me, because I'm an aspiring actress myself, and all of you, I watch and take as much in as possible from your performances, which are great. And if I could ask one question, but I can't, I would ask if Alexander could give me a hug. But I'm gonna ask. I want to ask you that. But I wanted to ask, how was the audition process for this show? Was it difficult or scary, or how did it go for you?
I was working on put myself on tape and sent it to Alan from Maputo. That's how it started.
Did you just say Maputo? What is that?
You can say Maputo here.
Really? Okay, so it says if you're, there are going to be people under 18 here.
Oh, shit. The capital of Mozambique is not shit, it's Maputo.
Well, my audition was, I went in and there was the Pam, there was sort of a compilation of some great one-liners. And my manager, you know, his job is to get these appointments for me, so he's always very excited to tell me how big it's going to be and who's in the room, and I'm like, la, 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 la. You know, I don't want to hear it because I still have to go get the job. So I heard HBO, I was in, Alan Ball, oh my God, and then vampires. And so I went in and I channeled my most harsh self. And then, you know, it's put on tape. And then a few weeks later they called and said they want you to come back and do it again. And I'm like, why? Why can't, it's on tape. Because if they're calling you back in, you did something right. And you could mess it up. So I went back in and tried to do the same thing again. And apparently I did something right, thank the Lord, and went off to do something in the Philippines and got a text. So it was pretty great. Worked out fine.
I believe in my audition, my last audition, I slightly cracked open my leg and thrusted my crotch at Alan. I think I
That's
did.
something you should remember about if you want to be an actress.
I don't know how that's gonna go over.
I jumped through a lot of hoops. I auditioned originally for a different character, and then they called me back for this guy, and then it was almost like a month-long process where I was jumping through hoops, you know, just sort of waiting around and not knowing what was going on. And I guess they narrowed it down to like 5 guys or 6 guys, and we had a chemistry read. We all read with Nelson, and I won.
For my audition, I had to do my death scene and then my waking up as a vampire scene, which was all kind of crazy. So I remember going into that room and lying on the floor and rolling around and eating my tears and screaming at the top of my lungs and just feeling kind of like a fool. But I guess it worked, so that's good.
I believe I was sort of the first audition, or at least part of that first round of auditions. Yeah. And it's the usual thing. You go in, you try to do your best, and you don't really know, and then you get this sort of call. I'm sure everyone remembers exactly where they were when they got that call. I still know where I was, and just standing in sort of my bare bones kind of bed-sitter apartment, and yeah, it was a really sort of auspicious moment, auspicious time, and you know, now 5 years later, to think that that little call has now transcended into this phenomenon, it's kind of crazy. But good.
I think I had to do the Super Saver Lunch scene. And I remember I was in New York, and I remember like I brought in an apron and like a rag, and I was like really into it. I was like dressing up for the part. And I remember I was pulling out of a Starbucks when I got the call, and I actually almost ran into somebody because I I like literally started crying because they were like, "Hey, you got the part," and I was like, "What?" And then I just pulled back in and just kind of like lost it because when you get to do what you love to do and what you've dreamed about since you were a kid, it's amazing. And I never would have thought it would be as big as it is now. So I'm very thankful to you, Alan, for giving me the opportunity and for working with you guys. It's been great.
There's a few times you get the opportunity to, your agent asks you to put yourself on tape. And it's the one time in a way that you get the chance to put across something without having to be in the room and you know, that nervousness of being in the room and doing it. And I'd read the script the night before, and as soon as I found out it was Alan, I put myself on tape the next morning, and then I just moved apartments, and I'd moved to this new place, and I put myself on tape, and I got home, I picked up my kids from school, and I got back to the house, and I'd been burgled, or burglarized, as you guys say. And I realized very quickly that my computer and all my cameras and everything that I owned would have been gone. And, you know, footage of the children growing up, all of that stuff. And I noticed some glass on the floor, and the kids hadn't really worked out what was going on, and I was trying to be strong for them. And I sat them down and I said, look, you know, this is what's happened. This is, you know, somebody's come into the house through the window and they've stolen everything. And my little boy ran into the bedroom and looked onto his bed and he went, Dad, they didn't get Teddy. And I went, come here. And I sort of slid down the wall, holding them both. I've got you two. And I got them to sleep. And literally, my manager rang and said they want to fly you to LA in the morning. And so it was a really interesting kind of thing from you know, those moments of low to incredibly high. And the next day I got there and I walked into Alan's office and I met Anna for the first time. And you know, it's been all right.
You know, I stopped Alan until he said yes. Is that bad?
She didn't stalk me at all, but we made her go through like 19,000 rounds of readings.
And it was like 5, but 5 felt like about 20,000 rounds. Especially, I feel like the more you want something, the longer that process feels, even if in reality it maybe was only a few months, but it felt like an endless amount of time. I was like, okay, I'll come back, I'll stay on my head, I'll make this food, what would you like me to do? You know, I really wanted it, and I'm always incredibly grateful that Alan had the imagination to see that what walked in the door wasn't necessarily what was written on the page, but you know, he was able to see it in the performance, not just the aesthetics of the pasty pale brunette from New Zealand. I'm incredibly grateful.
That $20 million you gave me didn't hurt.
We don't talk about that in public, though.
Well, thank you guys all for coming, but yeah, and the truth, on behalf of all of us, we want to thank you guys because you're the ones that waited in line and you stayed and you were great, so thanks so much.
The cast and creators.